Hello and welcome to SA Smart Chats, part of San Antonio's Smart City Challenge. This is part of a series of videos to help students in this year's challenge address the theme of AI, San Antonio, and the quality of life. Today, I have a special guest from the Center of Health Empowerment in South Texas. And before we start our conversation, I want to read a brief introduction to Dr. Adriana Rocha Garcia. She has built her career advancing equity for underserved communities through education, public service, and healthcare access. The first woman elected to represent District 4 on San Antonio's City Council, she served 3 terms and held key leadership roles locally and nationally, including with the National League of Cities. She is currently president and CEO of the Center of Health Empowerment in South Texas, or CHEST, focused on expanding neighborhood healthcare access, growing health career pathways, and closing life expectancy gaps. A former tenured professor and communications professional, Dr. Rocha Garcia has led and served on numerous boards and committees spanning housing, emergency preparedness, economic and workforce development, ethics, and youth opportunity. Honored with multiple awards, including induction into San Antonio's Women's Hall of Fame, she continues to champion community empowerment. Welcome, Dr. Adriana Rocha Garcia. Thank you for being here.
Hi, it's my pleasure, and I'm excited about today's topic.
Yes, so as president and CEO of CHEST, what kind of projects do you work on?
Well, the major thing that CHEST is set out to do, and like you mentioned a little bit, it's the equity and access to health and healthy lifestyles, really. And I love the fact that we can focus in on the empowerment portion of our name because we're trying to empower community members to take control of their health. The thing is that we need to also give them the ability to have access to things that will help them do that, like healthy food and even just in general, doctors and clinics near them, transportation, access to different parks, for instance, where they can exercise. And so that is what we do. So otherwise, we call them the social determinants of health. So it's everything around just thinking of medicines and even really focusing in on the prevention part of it.
That's so helpful. So this year's competition is about improving the quality of life for San Antonio residents using AI. How does the Center of Health Empowerment in South Texas support this mission?
Well, we have a great opportunity to leverage AI right now to help others, right, and empower ourselves also to help. One of the things that we will be very focused on is looking at what the data is saying, what kind of inequities have resulted in diseases, for instance, like diabetes, like hypertension, and like cancer. And when we look at AI and the ability for us to explore ways of processing large amounts of data and information so that we could make more informed decisions, I think that this is really at the heart of what AI was intended to do, right? Is help us help make our lives better, but more importantly, help us help others live their lives and healthy lives at that.
Yeah, I could definitely see how the role of AI in processing data is really beneficial versus humans having to sort through that on their own. So that is a huge advantage for sure. So based on your experience, what are you've listed some of them, but what are some other critical issues that students should consider in this competition?
One of the things that I would recommend when we think about quality of life, we really have to step outside of our comfort zone. And to us, a quality of life might mean going to sleep at 10 p.m. at night before we have to wake up early again the next morning for practice or to go to school. The reality is that another person your age might think of quality of life as finding somewhere to even sleep that night. and being able to have a good night's rest without fear. And we don't necessarily put ourselves in that position every single day, right? As we even prepare ourselves to go to sleep that night, thinking about where others are at that exact time and thinking about what decisions they're having to make to be able even to wake up to see another day is really critical. And so it's important for us to remember we are fortunate. We have a strong unit of support, whether it be our friends, our teachers, our family. Sometimes we can rely on and just forget that they're there, right? And forget that there's people that do not have that same system. By the same token, thinking of a car, right? So when you go to school in the morning, you get in a vehicle. You either get in a bus or you're driven to school. Some of you might walk, might have a bike. People might not have transportation to get to and from where they need to be. For instance, to doctor's appointments. When we think of our older adults who need to get to the doctor, how are they going to get to a bus stop that's not too close to their house? And by the way, how are they going to be able to safely get to that bus stop if they can, if there's no sidewalks present, or if there's dogs all over the neighborhood? They're going to be scared. They're probably going to be walking already with a cane. How do we help improve their quality of life and be a voice for them? Because they might not be able to be present at the places that we are where we can represent them. I think that this is the perfect opportunity to start thinking about quality of life beyond your own personal quality of life. It's really the needs of others as well.
Well, thank you for bringing to mind a lot of the things that we take for granted. And I appreciate the work that you're doing with chess to help improve quality of life for San Antonio residents. I think that's really informative for students who may be watching this to think about some of those things that are normal for them, but are a struggle for others. So, along those lines, what inspired you to pursue your current work, and what advice do you have for students that might be interested in doing what you do?
As a former councilwoman, I realized that there was a lot of inequities. I would visit different neighborhoods and visit even with different neighbors in their homes. And I could see, for instance, that some might have a whole support system, but others were experiencing social isolation. They didn't know where their next meal was coming from. And it leads to other complications in health. And so when I rolled off of the city council, I actually had 4 job offers. I chose this one. And the reason I chose this one is because I knew that I could make an impact at least a little bit in the life of some families by focusing in on this preventive health and helping in the way that I can, and helping advocate for sidewalks, helping advocate for housing, helping advocate for to bring health clinics and healthy food and better jobs. Because even if people do have access to this, do they have the ability to purchase healthy foods? Or is it easier to just go down the street? Because we know that in the southwest and east sides of San Antonio, there's a lot of food swamps. That means that there's fast food available for people. But there's food deserts in terms of healthy foods. And so I thought that it would be important to take my policy lens that I had just learned essentially through my work on the city council and apply it to the very real community needs that have been present for decades.
I love that. And I think for students who might be interested in this, is how could they get involved in that kind of work?
You're doing it already. Starting to think about quality of life for not just yourself, but also for others who might not be at the same starting line as you are, or who might need a little bit of extra help. That's how you start. It's learning about the things that you don't know about. I used to tell everybody all the time, I don't know what I don't know. So inform yourself, ask questions. When somebody says that something is good, ask, is it really good for every single person in my community? And if it isn't, how do we get it there? how do we help so that everybody benefits from this? And so I'm glad that you all are a part of this, because I feel like as future leaders, you all are starting to think about some of the challenges that have been persistent in our community for generations.
Well, thank you, Dr. Rocha Garcia, for sharing your expertise and inspiring this next generation of problem solvers. I appreciate your time. And for everybody watching out there, I hope this gives you some ideas for this challenge and how you can tackle it. And we'll see you in the next SA Smart Chat. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.